#1 is in Gainesville tonight as the top-ranked South Carolina Gamecocks, riding a 21-game win streak and having already claimed the SEC regular season title, meet with the Florida Gators from inside Exactech Arena. Only 2 games left in the regular year on the road to Greenville in the SEC tournament. South Carolina has already locked up the top spot in the SEC tournament, but for the Florida Gators need to win one of the next 2 to guarantee that they have a first-round bye and that they are not in the bottom 4. But for the Florida Gators, amidst a program turnaround, 6 league wins this year. KikI Smith coming off an outstanding performance against Arkansas, career-high 26 points.
And she did it all for her team. She took over when she needed to, but she did it on the offense and the defensive end, and that's what they need her to do here this evening as well. On the flip side, Ty Harris for South Carolina. She's a 3-year team captain. She already has a national championship under her belt. She's trying to get her team back there, and she produces 25% of their offense, whether that be from points or assists, and she's going to have to do that again here tonight.
So it's the Gators and the Gamecocks here tonight. #1 team in the country in South Carolina, 27-1, 14-0 in the SEC. Gators have doubled their win total from last year in the league at 6-8, coming off a ranked win, their second of the year against Arkansas. Smith just takes it away off the opening tip and lays it in.
That's a little designed play off the tip-off. KikI Smith just snuck right in front of Ty Harris for that.
That's one way to create some early energy. As KikI Herbert-Harrigan has the prompt response for South Carolina. She's having a good year in her senior season. Won a national championship along with Ty Harris, and this group is well on their way to win their 2nd national titles. We'll take a look at the starting 5 for the Florida Gators. This is the 19th straight game with this starting 5. Christina Moore checked it away by Harrigan and saved by Boston. Good look for Harris, program leader in dimes. Saw the South Carolina starting 5, most notably 3 freshmen in that group.
But take a look at this tip. You can see setting up. You see KikI Smith off to the left a little bit. She just sneaks right in front of South Carolina, the tip back. They were going to tip it back to try to get on offense. That's great awareness.
Reset for Ty Harris. Rebound for Ricards, but it's going to be tough on the glass today for the Florida Gators. South Carolina averages 16 offensive rebounds per game. Ty Harris, one of the 2 captains for the Gamecocks on this group.
And then
hits the pull-up.
Very experienced point guard. Very experienced. She comes in and she's led this team to a lot of games. She has 52 career games against ranked opponents, and that brings a whole lot of experience. One
of 2 Gamecocks with 1,000 points and 600 assists. Good pick and roll action from Smith, and it's Williams who ties the game at 4. Here's another outstanding freshman, Aaliyah Boston. Just threw it up, hit the shot clock.
That's extremely uncharacteristic for her to get a post move down that low and shoot that off.
There you see Dawn Staley, who just picked up her 300th win at South Carolina in what was an SEC clinching victory against Kentucky after Mississippi State fell at home to Alabama. So it's a bit of a surprise on Sunday that they were able to clinch the regular season title.
That's it, but I mean, just to speak about how much Dawn Staley has done for this South Carolina program and how she's turned it around, the way that she has turned it around, you just can't speak enough about what she's done.
How about the aggression early offensively attacking the rim for Florida?
And I think coming off a big win against a ranked opponent in Arkansas on their home court the last game out gave them a lot of confidence coming into this game to be that aggressor that they were against Arkansas, to come be that aggressor against this South Carolina team as well. And if you're Florida, you have to attack the way that you are right now. You can't shy away from the paint where South Carolina are monsters in blocking. We saw that early, but again, Zeta Williams. They find the opening amongst the Giants, and she takes it in strong. Florida has to attack that and not shy away.
Meanwhile, South Carolina, that's how they like to score in the paint, and that's Zia Cook, another outstanding freshman, a 5-star McDonald's All-American.
That was more characteristic of the way that she scores around the basket and her abilities.
Another pick and roll find. Smith again for Williams, who now has 6.
And you can see early on, they're pulling out the post player, trying to use that pick and roll action, Florida is, and they're doing a great job of drawing the defense out away from the paint that leaves Zeta Williams room to finish around the basket.
Efficient start on both sides. Gators have hit 5 of their first 8. South Carolina 4 of their first 7. Herbert-Harrigan, wild shot, might have been deflected by Moore as Williams tries to claim it and does. Gators got off to a 10-0 start in the first quarter last time out against Arkansas. Really beat them at their own game. That run and gun type style, scored 83 points in that victory.
And if you score 83 points against this South Carolina team, you're doing something, because they hold their opponents to an average of 55 points per game.
How about the start for Christina Moore? Couple of field goals. We have 3 in the score sheet already for Florida, but it's Boston once again.
South Carolina taking no time to come right back at Florida. Once Florida scores, they're pushing it back in transition really quick.
How about the start for the Gators, really matching everything South Carolina has shown early. And South Carolina, one of the best defensive teams in the country.
Yes, they are. And it's a great start for Florida because, again, they're being the aggressor on offense, not shying away.
Trying to find Williams that time as Moore throws it away. South Carolina only gives up 55 points per game, but look at that. The forwards running the floor. It's Boston again at the rim.
And you reward your bigs. When your bigs run the floor like Boston does in those 2 back-to-back possessions, you have to give her the ball. And Harris does a phenomenal job of that, averaging about 5.5 assists per game.
We're on pace for a classic about 5 minutes in. Incredible start from both these teams. Smith crashing in, a scoop shot dangles down. Smith had 26 last time out against Arkansas, and 10 of 18 shooting. Was probably the best game she played as a Gator in her 2 years in Gainesville. Harrigan sweeping through again has the answer. South Carolina has hit 5 of their last 6. Meanwhile, the Gators have hit 6 of their last 6 shots.
And what's crazy is it's all the points in the paint. It's 14 points in the paint for Florida right now against a team that is a shot-blocking monster.
Take a look at the early start in terms of field goal numbers. Beal in transit gives South Carolina the lead.
Both teams, paint points. Paint points right now. That is where it's coming to, and that's where South Carolina really lives, is in the paint. I mean, they outscore their opponents in the paint 41 points to 24 points per game. Florida is trying to break that trend right now.
It was a good start for Christina Moore. Gators one and done. Harris long lead for Harrigan at the cup.
I think we're doing a fast break drill back and forth right now. There have been hardly any whistles. There's 4 minutes left in the first quarter right now.
What a start for Ty Harris already with 4 assists. Smith throws it away. An outstanding start on both sides. Gators trail by 4 with number 1 in town. Number 1, KikI Smith to the bucket for the Gators, down by 4. South Carolina by 4, just past the midway mark in the opening quarter. A fun start between these two here inside Exact Tech Arena. We welcome you courtside, Kyle Crooks and Brittany Davis for the Gators and the Gamecocks. So, Brittany, a fast pace on both sides. Both teams shooting over 60% to start. Both
teams scoring in the paint. I mean, at will right now. They're just going back and forth. It's a great game right now offensively for both teams.
And how about South Carolina's season, right? 14-0 in the SEC. They've already clinched the regular season title for the 5th time in the last 7 years. You just take a look at what they've been able to do this year with such a young team.
I mean, you can't speak enough about what this program is doing and what South Carolina is doing this year. They're holding their opponents to 55 points per game on average. Only 7 times this season have this team scored over 60 points. UConn didn't even score 60 points. They scored 52 against this team.
And scored only 2 in a quarter.
Yes. So talk about, they're not just doing it offensively, they're doing it defensively as well. They're putting stops against teams and programs who can put up a lot of points. And so they know they have scores, and we've seen the way that they can score early in this game, but man, can they play defense as well. But right now, Florida doing a great job of counteracting that and not being afraid to going into the paint where, you know, South Carolina is so strong.
And now you have to think for Dawn Staley, she makes the adjustments. We saw the first few Florida offensive possessions, a lot of pick and roll.
Yes, we'll see if she, they're hedging out big, and that's opening up the down low, and the rotations are a little bit late for South Carolina right now. So we'll see adjustments maybe coming out of this timeout to see what she's going to decide to do, because, South Carolina, they've never not led at the end of the first quarter in any of their games.
There is head coach Cam Neubauer. Earned his second-ranked win this past Sunday against Arkansas. Starting to turn this program around. Only 3 league wins his first 2 years. Harrigan's had a good start. KikI Herbert-Harrigan from Florida. Started all 29 games.
She's a very seasoned vet. She's played, like Harris has, in a lot of competitions against highly ranked opponents. 52 ranked opponents in her career. That brings a lot of experience.
Harrigan in that last stretch picked up her 200th career block.
Talk about a blocking team.
Yeah.
They lead the nation in blocks per game.
8.5 a game.
Yes, I was going to say, but you beat me to it. 8. That is crazy.
Post touch for Boston. South Carolina, they average about 41 points in the paint per game. They scored 60 in the paint against Kentucky in their first meeting in early January.
And you've seen early why and how they score those points in the paint. But Florida said, hey, we can score in the paint as well. And they are doing that just like South Carolina is.
Faye Duke, the freshman for the Gators, has checked in. Just tell this Gator team right now, playing with a lot of confidence that has not been there the first 2 years under head coach Cam Neubauer. Just a different look with a young team, 2 of the youngest groups in the SEC. Ricard's one of those freshmen, zipping all the way in.
And, so uncharacteristic, I feel like, of the South Carolina team to their pedigree this season is how open the paint is right now for this Florida team, and Florida taking advantage of that.
Florida actually led 25-18 in their meeting last year at Exact Tech Arena through 1 quarter. It was a 96-77 South Carolina win. Another paint touch, and it's Harrigan once more, ready in double figures with 10.
Right now, just back-to-back scoring. Every time Florida scores, South Carolina has an answer. When South Carolina is scoring, Florida's having an answer.
Rebound for Destanni Henderson, last year SEC All-Freshman member. Difficult shot, gets it to go.
The athleticism just around the basket to get that shot off.
Hayes picking up, Smith all the way to the rack. Shot deterred by Harrigan once again. Corner pop, Henderson. Too easy for Bree Beal underneath.
And that's where South Carolina is so good as well, is on the glass. Florida's going to have to push them back because they can rebound the basketball. They average just over 16 offensive rebounds per game.
They're plus 14 in the rebounding margin in league play as well. Average height of about 6 foot across the roster. De Oliveira gets the bounce.
And Manu is a player who I thought got a lot of confidence off of her last game against Arkansas. When they played Arkansas, she was 3 for 3 from the three-point line. She had struggled a bit from outside the arc, and I think that just breeded a lot of self-confidence from first shooting the 3.
Have a foul underneath.
First foul of the game.
First foul of the quarter.
With 33 seconds left in the first quarter. I mean, this has been a back and forth. There's only, I think, like one or two out of bounds plays. An extremely fast first quarter.
One of the best starts we've seen from the Gators all year. Harris, a corner 3. It's not where this team lives. They struggled against Kentucky and were 0 for their 5 attempts they took in that game in Lexington. Harris with the interception. All the way to the rim, and just like that, the lead is at 10. 31-point first quarter.
You blink, and South Carolina goes up 10.
Turnovers starting to pile up now for the Gators, as Harris will hoist at the horn, well off the mark. A fast-paced start between these two, with the #1 team in the country here in town, as South Carolina has never trailed after the first quarter all year long. A 31-point first quarter here in Gainesville for the #1 team in the land, trying to pick up their 22nd straight win. It was a good start for the Florida Gators right now, sticking around with the Gamecocks through 1, trail by 10. Back in Gainesville through the opening quarter. It's the Gamecocks by 10. Take a look at some of those numbers in the opening 10 minutes. Brittany Davis, what stands out? Points in the paint right now, 24 of the 31 for the Gamecocks inside the painted area.
And then 16 of Florida's 21, have been in the paint as well. I mean, talk about a high efficiency offense right now for both teams, really getting to the paint, getting to the bucket. A lot of those have been layups, not just from post players, but guards as well for both teams. Highest
total of points the Gamecocks have given up in a first quarter since the Indiana game on November 28th was their only loss this year. Came at Paradise Jam in late November. Ty Harris already with 5 assists. Harrigan, she's already in double figures.
And she's a player who she can stretch out. Florida goes to a zone, and she finds those pockets. She's a senior who knows how to sneak the baseline to get shots open from the baseline, and she just snuck right behind Florida's zone that timeout.
Harrigan already over 1,000 career points, 200 career blocks, won a national championship.
Well, you talk about how young South Carolina is and how their freshmen are doing so well. And you know, they have 4 starters averaging 12 points or more per game, right at 12, 13 almost. But you have 2 seniors that both have 1,000 points to their name in their career. So you're kind of balancing that out with the experience that you have from those 2 players in Harrington and Harris, because they just bring so much to the plate.
Starting to see South Carolina make their necessary defensive adjustments. Gators already 6 team turnovers as Gamecocks have not turned it over yet. There's Saxton. Saved by Briggs. Saxton, another piece that comes off the bench. Actually, one of 2 captains on this team. Second on the team in blocks.
That's the thing about South Carolina. You're not losing anything when you go to your bench. You're not losing anything at all. They come in and they make an immediate impact. You have players on your bench who are SEC all freshman team members that don't start but come off the bench. So you're not losing much.
This might be the deepest team that Dawn Staley has ever had.
And I think that speaks to how there's no one who is averaging 20 points per game. There's no one averaging 15 points per game because you have so many players averaging, 12.7, 12.9, 12.5. It's any given night that one of those players or someone off the bench averaging 7.5 points can go for 25 or 30 points. You just never know who that might be.
Gators have it off the first South Carolina turnover. Christina Moore goes to work. Call it travel on the Australian, so already 7 team turnovers for Florida.
And like you said, you can see South Carolina adjusting a little bit defensively. Those drives to the basket. Christina Moore had a great start to this game, driving to the basket, finding her way in. She's got 4 points right now, but small adjustments. So now Florida on the flip side is going to have to make a couple small adjustments offensively to get back to where they were early in the first quarter.
The Gamecocks, Letitia Amihir is on the floor. The freshman from Ontario, Canada, helped Team Canada qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. She's dealt with some knee injuries in her career, final 2 years of high school. Tough shot for Lele Grisette, and just like that, the lead has ballooned to 14. Gators after a 21-point first in desperate need of an early bucket. No KikI Smith on the floor right now for the Gators. Florida's floor general. Bartram off the curl. You bet!
And Bartram, a player for Florida who she doesn't shy away from letting it fly in big competition games. Against Tennessee, I think she had made 3 threes in that game, and that I think really kind of gave her a lot of confidence to step into the SEC season and start shooting the ball with more confidence.
And then had 6 made triples against Missouri on the road in 11 attempts at a career high 18 points in Como. Harris's second made 3. Harris 2 for 2 from deep. Gamecocks over their last 2 games were only 2 of 16 from 3. Briggs charging in, again swatted away. Amihir swats that one away. Again, a group that averages 8.5 blocks per game. That's first nationally.
They're just so good at blocking without fouling. And one of the reasons is they're taller, but it's the timing of the blocks when they're coming across the paint. You can see she doesn't foul. She just waits till it extends out, and you've got to go into shot blockers.
Tough shot for Faith Dute, the freshman.
It's a great shot. Another player for Florida in their freshman class who I feel like has emerged a little bit late in the SEC season with the confidence to finish around the basket the way that she is. But that also has come with more minutes. She's gotten more minutes late in the SEC season.
We have two Canadians going at it underneath, and Dutenami here as we have a whistle, a travel called on South Carolina. This is one of those games, though, Brittany, for the Florida Gators that you use it as confidence. People on the outside looking in, they don't expect Florida to win this game against the #1 team in the country, but there's a lot of confidence that could be built off of a game like this.
Absolutely. You come in here and you're playing the #1 team in the nation. So you just go hard and really, not thinking about, making those mistakes. When you think about making the mistakes, that's when you make them. So you just have to come in here and play.
Well, the Gators have 8 mistakes, 8 offensive turnovers. Cam Neubauer and his staff coming off one of their more impressive performances of the year from start to finish. Never trailed against Arkansas on Sunday. Saxon crashing the glass. Loose ball for Manu de Oliveira. Doesn't have numbers. KikI Smith and Nina Ricard's getting set to check in for the Gators. Both got the start.
And you see, or I feel like at least in this second quarter, Florida's offense has slowed down a little bit. And it may be a result of how South Carolina is playing defensively, but it's not as fast-paced or as quick-hitting as it was to start the game.
South Carolina still shooting at 64% for the game. Henderson zipping in. Another offensive rebound. It's Sexton who cleans it up. Timeout. Third offensive rebound for the Gamecocks, and right now have a 14-point lead tied for a game best.
Here in the O-Dome, South Carolina is up 14, and a big reason why is KikI Herbert-Harrigan. She has 12 points already. She's running the floor for this team. She's leading them. The senior is driving to the basket. Whatever they need right now, she's doing. She's 6 of 9 from the field, and she's just doing it all. And you can't speak enough about the way that South Carolina has come out offensively right now with the Firehouse. She averages, we talk about how any player here, she averages 12.5 points. She already has 12. But there are an array of players for this South Carolina team that could go off any night.
Picked up her 200th career block in the first quarter. Somebody who actually entered the transfer portal at the end of last year, had a heart-to-heart with Dawn Staley, decided to come back. Of course, that's big for such a young team. One of 2 seniors along with Ty Harris. Tough shot from Manu de Oliveira, another block for this South Carolina group. They don't waste much time at all.
They're an offense that can score very quickly. If they need to slow it down, they can, but they don't have to, because you can see the athleticism around the basket. And if they miss the shot, they're rebounding it offensively.
Williams, the rebound, got off to a good start and one. Florida really needed that bucket.
Yes, and for Florida right now, you've got to just continue to fight. Well, while South Carolina is scoring on that offensive end, you see the missed shot by outside, but then Zeta Williams fighting underneath. She gets around the South Carolina players, gets underneath them, they don't box out, and she makes them pay.
Big part of Florida's turnaround this year has been Zeta Williams. 16 games in double figures, 7 double-doubles. 7 of her 8 career double-doubles have come this year. And they needed expanded production out of her this year.
They've needed it from her, and in the SEC play, she's really stepped up as of late. And it's interesting how when it's your senior season, you kind of see, say, hey, it's coming. You can see it coming to an end. And I think sometimes that brings a little bit more fire to some players, and you're just knowing that this is going to be your last time here at home, and you want to finish strong.
Gators had their senior day against Arkansas. She had 12 and 10. That game against the Razorbacks. South Carolina, very much a balanced offense. You heard Brittany talk about it. They have had 8 players this year that have tied or led the team in scoring in any individual game this season. That is the definition of a well-rounded team. Good positioning for Boston, the freshman. Gets the N1 on Williams.
And we talk about the seniors we've talked about for South Carolina, but the freshmen in Boston, and what she has done. She's just down low, just so hard to handle because she positions herself so well. She keeps the ball high, she rebounds the ball well. She had a triple-double her first career game. She had 12 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 blocks.
First collegiate player in women's basketball history to have a debut triple-double.
And we're seeing a little bit of how and why that happened.
I'd say a good shot she wins SEC Freshman of the Year this year.
She's put up games to have an argument for that, that's for sure. And just what she's doing on the #1 team in the nation. That's the kicker there, is she's doing this surrounded by great players as well, and she's already shining out in the position that she plays. And you talk about it being a team sport and a team game, and that is what South Carolina is playing like.
Gamecocks again on a 21-game win streak, one away from tying a program record set in 2015-16. Lele Grisette sweeping across the lane, looks for Boston, another bucket. Just like that, a lead at 19.
And a design play for South Carolina, dragging the guard across, and then Boston seals the backside. That was a pass-in lob, seal and finish.
How about this? South Carolina already with 3 players in double figures. Boston now with 11. Final 2 minutes for the half. Ricard's tough move. Florida's gone cold, only 7 points in the quarter. Henderson in a flash, a blocking foul on Minute de Oliveira, the Gators' second team foul.
De Oliveira, a player for Florida who likes to get back and take those charges. In that instance, though, just a little bit out of position. You can see driving down the middle. She tries to get over there a little bit and a step too late, slid in front of her. If she would have been there just a second or two earlier, I think she would have gotten the charge. But a good call by the referees in transition, just didn't get there quite in enough time.
Destanni Henderson from Fort Myers, Florida. There's a strong contingent of Gamecock fans behind their bench. Henderson, dynamic slashing guard at 12 points against Tennessee on her birthday, averaging about 8 points this year per game.
And a player who also increased her minutes from last season. She was averaging about 15, almost 16 minutes per game, went up to 23 and a half. So, showing much improvement again from her freshman to her sophomore season.
It's been tough sledding since that first quarter for the Gators at the offensive end. Briggs has been held scoreless. Ricard's a tough pull-up, and nothing's been easy. A high under.
I mean, the way that she's playing, why not? She's at the top of the key. She's going to let it fly, knocks it down. 15 points, and an efficient 15 points. 7 of 10 from the field.
Gamecocks on a 38-14 run after the game was tied at 14 in that first quarter. Johnson probing, swatted away by Harrigan. 5th block for the Gamecocks already in this game.
And it's just crazy the way that they do it, and they do it without fouling. There haven't even been a lot of foul calls. Florida's only been to the line 1 time.
Right now the Gamecocks on a 10-0 run. Henderson diving down to the ground, ball still loose.
What hustle. Wow, credit Henderson for the hustle. She tips one down around, and then lying on the ground, she tips it around and ends up with it and calls a timeout.
Here's a look at that last play. Henderson's done it all here in this first half. Able to get the timeout as well. How athletic.
Yeah, a one-woman show to get a steal. The back of their shirts say, woman up. That was a definite woman up move for her. All the way around, 360 move to keep it alive for her team.
And I think what's interesting about South Carolina this year is they are 27-1 and first in the country, but the amount of big wins that they've had this year. Top 5 wins this year. They've had 3 top 5 wins this year, so the opponents they've beaten
have been very good.
Resume.
Yes, and you alluded to this earlier, and you said it. They held UConn to 2 points in a quarter. So, and we've seen a little bit of it right there, and that's another reason why they're hunting for a national championship is they're diving on the floor for loose balls all around, and it's one time around, just the hustle that you see.
They beat number 4 Maryland, number 2 Baylor. Lob to the rim, Zia Cook getting into the act. Cook, a much heralded freshman, McDonald's All-American. Not really been in the flow of the offense to this point, but she's having a tremendous year.
A great year. That's another one who, surprised to hear she has not been SEC Freshman of the Week.
She's gone viral a whole lot in terms of just the crossover moves she had in high school. Final 7 seconds. Henderson probing the kick. Harrigan will try another. That'll bring us to a close of the first half. Was a good start for both squads in that first quarter, but South Carolina outscoring the Gators 23-9 in the second stanza. Right now at the break, it's all South Carolina by 24. Halftime show next on SEC Network. A look at the beautiful campus of the University of Florida. Nighttime here in Gainesville. The Gamecocks up 24 here at the break. Final 2 games of the regular year. We welcome you courtside, Kyle Crooks and Brittany Davis for the Gators and the Gamecocks. So one thing we knew coming in, South Carolina's really good. And
yes,
offensively, they got off to a good start, and that defense was stifling in the second quarter.
Yeah, the defense started a little bit slow. The offense didn't, but when they picked up that defense, you just saw them kick it to another level, and they're doing a great job of continuing to push that.
And how about for South Carolina, early offense and throughout from KikI Herbert-Harrigan?
She's got 15 points. She's showing how she can do it all. Turnaround jumpers. She's got back to the basket moves. She's running the floor. You can see here driving to the basket. Later we're going to see a 3 from her. She's 7 from 11 from the field. So an efficient evening as well. 12th
game in double figures in SEC play. Also picked up her 200th career block in that first half. But Ty Harris as well. She's just the ultimate facilitator. Already 5 dimes in this game. And it's eyes up all the time. You can see here every time down the floor, she has her eyes up. She's trying to find her teammates, get them open. She has 5 assists. 5 of the 11 team assists come from her. The seniors are leading the way here this evening. Take a look at the first half numbers. 36 points in the paint for South Carolina. They average 41 a game. Yeah, they average 41 a game. They hold their opponents to about 25 per game. Florida's sitting at 20, so they're above that average right now. And, I mean, just getting it done right now with South Carolina. You can see why they're the #1 team in the nation. Angling to try to get over 100 points are the South Carolina Gamecocks. Certainly on pace at the break. It's South Carolina by 24. Second half next on the SEC Network. Nation's #1 was in cruise control in that second quarter. Right now lead by 24 as we get set for the start of the third. Kyle Crooks, Brittany Davis, our entire crew. So you take a look at how that first half developed. Outscored Florida 23-9 in that second quarter. We mentioned the start for Makia Herbert-Harrigan, but on the flip side for Florida, it was an outstanding start for Zeta Williams and overall for the Gators on the pick and roll. Yes, it was. They exposed South Carolina early on the pick and roll, drew them out defensively to where there was no rotation. And right now, Florida's going to have to try to get back to that in this third quarter, try to find something different that they can attack South Carolina with. Gators also trying to get Lavender Briggs going. Only 2 points in the opening 20 minutes. At 20 last time out against Arkansas. That shot was partially deflected by Bree Beal. And I think one of the reasons that, Briggs, as you see a &1 in transition by none other than our leading scorer, Herbert-Harrigan. There was Ty Harris again with that dime, her 6th of the game. And what is it? Eyes up. She saw that from, 90 feet away from the basket. She leaked out, found her teammate. But you were leading to, Briggs only having 2 points. And, one of the reasons is Bree Beal. She's a great defender. And she a lot of times draws, the best players' opponents. And I think she takes pride in the fact that, that's what she does, is on defense. She tries to lock down the opposing team's, leading scorer or best player. That's what made her a consistent starter in year 1. Even though we have a foul on Ricard's drive. But that defensive energy, sometimes you don't see that right away from freshmen. But for Bree Beal, like you said, she draws the toughest assignment every single game.
And so no surprise that they have put her on Lavender Briggs. And so, she was the number 11 in the country in the class of 2019 recruit. And this is a South Carolina team that has, I think, 4 of the top 11. Yes,
yeah.
They have number 3, number 4, number 10, and number 11. And they have proven that they are that good.
How about what Dawn Staley has built? And I'm sure that the Gators here on the flip side, they want to use that blueprint that Dawn Staley had used to, becoming a winning program. Dawn Staley had 2 losing seasons to begin her tenure in Columbia.
And doing that by getting the recruits coming to school, and that's what Florida's doing as well. They bring Lavender Briggs in, who's, helping change the program around in her freshman season as well.
No foot off the gas pedal after this team clinched the regular season title against Kentucky. They're 5th in the last 7 years.
And that's a sign of championship program, is you don't take the gas pedal off, because that's when you don't know you might lose. And you see it a lot in NCAA tournament play when, you don't want your team to start taking off once it gets close to tournament time, because that's when you have to be revving up, because if you get lazy, you create lazy habits, and that can come back to get you in tournament play.
There's Harris, who runs the show. Makes it so easy for this freshman. Ty Harris just puts them in positions to be successful. Rim run for Zeta Williams. Foul called on Ricards. That's her 2nd of the half. We talk about all the youth on this team, but having a glue piece at specifically that position at point guard helps this team so much, and it will help this team come tournament time.
Absolutely. You can't speak enough about having a veteran point guard who puts players in the right position, who also can score. So it's not just about distributing it out. We talked about how she produces about 25% of the offense, whether that be from her scoring or from her assisting to getting her teammates in the right position to where they can score and where they can be successful.
Boston drawing a ton of defenders. Johnson ahead for Briggs in cruise control.
And a great read defensively by Florida. They get down there, double team, almost triple team over, but the slide out, rotation over by Johnson to get the steal. That's what you want to see if you're Florida right now. You got to continue to make improvements.
The attention that Aaliyah Boston creates on the blocks. Had 3 defenders around her on that prior trip. Again, the vision from Harris, and it's Zaya Cook on the short pull-up.
And you see she has the ability to see it from 94 feet from the basket, but when she's close up and inside the 3-point line, she sees when players get open and when they read gaps. But that's the team chemistry that they have right now, is the ability to flash into open spots, and you know your teammate's going to be there before they even get there sometimes.
Difficult look for Bartram. Say that Beal stepped out, but how about somebody like Zaya Cook for South Carolina, 4 times with at least 20 points in SEC play? It's one thing to contribute non-conference play, but for a freshman to come in and make that kind of noise in the SEC right away is impressive. And
offensively, and when you're surrounded by other star players, you're making that noise. And in SEC play, while regular games she's averaging 12.7 points, in SEC she's averaging 14.6. So she's upped her game in SEC play.
Briggs still searching. They will go to work.
And you heard Coach Cam say, go to work, and that's what you want to see your freshmen. Go at it, down low.
And quickly in transition, it's Ty Harris. Harris in double figures for a 5th straight game. As Gamecocks have cracked 60 points right now in firm command on the road. 14-0 in the SEC. They were 16-0 in 2015-16. Dawn Staley also had a 16-0 Temple team in 04-05 in conference play.
And she knows how to get the best out of her players. And whether that, and sometimes that's hard when you're going on those stints of, 12, 10, you have no losses, to remain focused. And especially to remain focused going into SEC tournament time and NCAA tournament time, because then you can't lose. You lose and you go home.
Dawn Staley said that she's never been around a team like this in her 20-year career. They just take it one game at a time. You think maybe a group who just clinches a regular season title, they could pull off the gas a little bit. We have not seen that since the opening tip.
Good block.
Take a look at the current standings in the SEC right now. Again, unblemished record for South Carolina. Surprising loss on Sunday. Mississippi State on their home floor to Alabama, which allowed South Carolina to clinch the regular season title. And you see Florida in a grouping of 6 and 8 teams. They'll take on Georgia on Sunday. That'll be a big one for them.
That's going to be a big game for both teams. You can see right now they're both sitting at 6 and 8. And so today's game obviously is going to change the standing a little bit, as well as with Georgia. But a huge game Sunday for both Georgia and Florida. And it's a rivalry game on top of that.
Florida a chance to clinch, not being in that bottom 4 with a win in their next 2. Of course, well behind tonight, and they'll be at Stegman Coliseum on Sunday. Difficult shot for Ty Harris.
And you see Ty Harris, and that's just the experience. Not necessarily having a lane to the basket. She looks to pass. She doesn't have it, but her ability to score in transition on her own.
I think her best game this year came against UConn. Had 19 points, 11 assists, but no turnovers.
Controlled the game. And that's what you want to see, is you again just see her in transition, look off the pass. Because she passes and gains so much respect from her assists, the way that she can drop dimes, she just looks it off and then goes in for the score. And I mean, when you have no turnovers against UConn and 19 points, just the command that she brings to the floor, you just can't speak enough about. That's what you want in your point guard position.
Good finish from Fave 2. She's had a pretty good night. A couple of field goal makes for the freshman, who has seen more and more minutes over the latter half of SEC play, trying to build that depth in the front court right now.
And just gaining experience. When you can play against, Boston, you see her battling down low right now. That is experience that, you want to build upon.
These are 2 of the younger teams in the SEC, and right now South Carolina up 30, late stages, third quarter, en route to their 22nd straight win. Ty Harris dropping dimes, getting buckets here in Gainesville.
South Carolina up 68-38 against Florida, and a big reason why is Ty Harris doing it all right now. Not only does she make the great pass, she makes the great shot. She can hit it from 3. She has drives to the basket, this pull-up in transition. When the pass isn't there, she looks it off and finishes around the basket. You can't speak enough about what she's doing here tonight for her team. And that's one of the things that she does night in and night out, day in and day out, whether that be in games or practices. She leads her team.
Angling for what would be her second double-double of the year. First coming in that UConn game that we mentioned, 16 points, 8 assists. One of the best point guards in the country. Possibility of her winning SEC Player of the Year this year. I mean, she's that good.
She has put up a resume to earn that as well. And you see, when she's on the bench right now, she's talking about plays. She was just talking with one of her assistant coaches about something. You could see that she's always engaged, and that's what you want. You need that from your point guard and your leader on the floor.
Freshman Zaya Cook rumbling in. I believe they'll get Cook with a charge. You look at Harris, she's much like Sabrina Ionescu of Oregon, who became the first 2K, 1K player against Stanford a couple of nights ago, which is incredible.
Yes, it is.
First player in Division I men's or women's in the history to accomplish that. But she's much like Sabrina is at Oregon, just the vision.
It's the vision, the way that you read. You see South Carolina reading the passing lanes. Florida's going to have to throw some ball fakes in because South Carolina's long on the wing, and just reading the passing lane, and you see out in the passing lane is Grisette, and she steals that. She's a tall guard right now, guard forward that she can play.
You mentioned their length. They have 4 players that have a wingspan of at least 6'4".
And Grisette, a player who, she came in and didn't know if she was going to be a forward or a guard, and they put her at that 3 position. She's a tall 3, and you saw why.
Timeout on the floor. We'll step aside here in Gainesville. South Carolina is still by 30 on the road. Late in the third quarter, all South Carolina on the road up 30 over the Florida Gators. At times it's been a struggle for Florida offensively, and specifically for their freshman Lavender Briggs. Take a look And her previous 4 coming into tonight, all in double figures, 3 of those with at least 20 points, only 4 tonight.
Yeah, she's been hot offensively for Florida. You can see 23, 18, 21, 20 points. And right now, only 4 points, 2 of 7 from the field.
And that's the thing, too, as a freshman, when you become the focal point of a scouting report, it becomes much difficult to score in this league.
You also draw the best defender from the other team.
And Bree Beal is an elite defender as a freshman. Breaks right now, not on the floor. Rebound for Lele Grisette. Lead now at 32. Some good experience here. You have 2 freshmen for the Gators out on the floor, along with 2 sophomores. One upperclassman, Zeta Williams, the senior.
You see the long, probing arms of Grisette in that point guard, guarding the point guard position right now.
More tough look is fouled. We mentioned before that Grisette is listed as a guard, but obviously has the length of a forward.
And she's a 6'2", and all of 6'2" guard. And you know, she came in and I think struggled with, are we going to play you in the post? Are we going to play you at the guard position? And, you know, settled with the 3 position. But sometimes when you're at that 3 position, you got to guard the point guard. And you saw, you know, she's very capable of doing that. And Christina Moore, a player I too also feel in the last couple games for Florida has really emerged offensively, and that's what they need for her and for this team going into the SEC tournament and into the game against Georgia.
That one for the Gators could be big. If Missouri wins out their final 2 games, the Gators lose out, Florida would be in the bottom 4. They'd have to play in that first day of the SEC tournament. I want to try and get that bye.
Yes, you do.
Greenville. Gators will go to Athens on Saturday, then they'll bust to Greenville right after playing Georgia. Grisette is fouled. And I think the theater that we're set up for in the SEC tournament, it's going to be a lot of fun. You almost get the sense that you have the opportunity of a classic between Mississippi State and South Carolina in that final.
It could be a good one. That is for sure. But I mean, it's why you play the tournament. There's going to be some upsets. You see it every year. Last year, you know, Arkansas making a run deep. And so I think that's, you know, while that's what people think it might be, you never know.
South Carolina had won 4 straight SEC titles. That was snapped last year when Mississippi State had swept the conference, winning the regular season and the tournament title. That's why Mississippi State was picked to win the SEC this year. Gamecocks will have a ranked Aggie team coming up. Arced inside for Williams, able to curl it down. Williams in double figures tonight.
Great find by Florida. They clear out the backside. They overload one side, and so there's no backside help. So Zeta Williams, all you have to do is make that perfect pass, and Briggs did that.
Zaya Cook lost it, regains. Here, the Canadian with the step through and a block on Christina Moore.
As you see on this, you see the clear out. Everybody, there's 4 over on one side. There's no backside help because they put a shooter Florida has on the left-hand side, so you can't draw in for the backside help on the lob, because if you do, you ball fake it inside and then skip it to the shooter. So great play drawn out by Florida and executed.
Here going to the line. Well, actually, her first dunk was when she was 15 years old. I mentioned earlier, helped Team Canada qualify for the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. And of course, Dawn Staley is the head coach of the Team USA.
Yep.
A lot of debate on whether the Olympics will actually occur because
I was just talking about with one of my friends, with everything that's going on, what's going to be the ultimate deciding factor, I wonder. It'll be interesting to see. Again, Florida, the same play, but the backside help is late, and Florida takes advantage.
Quickly, the answer from Destanni Henderson. Final 30 seconds, third quarter. The foul on Henderson.
Team foul number 4.
Not really a lot of fouls in this game.
No.
It's been a back and forth game, up and down. Not a lot of whistles blown to call fouls or really even out of bounds. There's been a lot of, I feel like, more live ball turnovers than there have just out of bounds resets. I mean, that first quarter went by very fast. And then now, as I talk about this, we have to take a break.
Another touch for Williams.
Great hustle by Zeta Williams to get that back.
Right back to Williams. Zeta's had a really good night.
She really has. The senior wanted it. And right there in that play, that was about wanting it and wanting it more. And Zeta Williams fought for that. Then a tip out back. She gets it eventually, but sticking with it.
Tapped out with 1.5 to go for the quarter.
And you know what looks and has been, rough after the first quarter for Florida. They're continuing to fight, and it starts with their leadership at the senior position. And Zeta Williams, she's got 16 points, 8 of 11 from the field. That's extremely efficient, and especially against a South Carolina team who is predominantly heavy in defending the paint.
Ami here can't get it to roll down at the buzzer, and through 3, South Carolina still with a 30-point lead, but a great night for the senior. One of 2 on this Gator roster, Zeta Williams, who had her senior night on Sunday, getting honored in the pregame and certainly showing out against the #1 team in the country. South Carolina creating separation in that second and third quarters. Right now comfortably in front by 30 points. Here inside Exact Tech Arena, Kyle Crooks, Brittany Davis, and our entire crew here in Gainesville. South Carolina, Brittany, they're just trying to make that conversation of being that #1 overall seed.
Yes.
So with that winning out, obviously would get them that #1 overall seed.
And you don't want to, like you talked about, you don't want to let up on the gas pedal either. If you're trying for that #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, you don't want to have those close games down the stretch going into tournament time. You want to win, and you want to win in a sufficient way. You want to say there's no question to it and how we're winning.
Certainly making that argument. Meanwhile, Dawn Staley nearing her 137th SEC victory. That's second amongst active league coaches, only behind Gary Blair. It was 141. Victoria Saxton curls it off the window. Well, does South Carolina get to 100? That's a big question.
That's the question right now, and that's the question of, I think we'll see here in the next couple of minutes if that's their goal right now. And they went out and they're 31, and you see again in the passing lane. And who is it? Grisette. It's on the opposite side. Florida's got to be aware that she's playing that passing lane. But South Carolina in the first quarter, 31 points. 23 points in the second, 24 in the third, and then 4 in the fourth so far. And you see one of the big reasons is, was that 16 points off turnovers?
Yeah. Meanwhile, South Carolina right at their average of points per game. As Briggs knocks down the bucket. Briggs now with 6 points. We mentioned the struggles for her tonight. Gators are able to pick up one more win in the regular season. Nice lob to the rim here for Saxton. Would be their 4th largest turnaround in program history. So if you think of it, again, Brittany, this is a very young team, the 2nd youngest team in the SEC. Plus the fact we showed you the package on Danielle Rennie at halftime.
Yes, losing
That's one of their top
player,
offensive producers. They've doubled their SEC win total. I think Florida's a team that not a lot of people are talking about and what they've been able to do this year.
And I think, when you see the rankings that come out and you get ranked so low, you kind of have a little chip on your shoulder. I think Florida had a good response to that little chip of saying, hey, we're going to prove them wrong. We're going to finish higher in the SEC seedings than, they have voted us. And, Lavender Briggs has come in and helped change the program around. But you've had the leadership as well with KikI Smith and Zeta Williams. And you see it tonight with 16 points from Zeta Williams. And like you talked about, what they have done to get to where they are and to fight over some adversities of losing Danielle Rennie, who, again, you think you're coming in, it's just a couple weeks before the season starts, of someone who, could possibly average 15 points a game for you and just be another leader on the floor offensively and defensively.
Briggs, tough move, strong off the window. This was a complete rebuild for Cam Neubauer, and It takes, you'd have to think, about 5 years, especially rebuilding in this conference specifically, which is one of the best in women's basketball.
Well, I mean, you see it right now. You're playing the #1 team in the nation. Yeah. So the #1 team in the nation is in your conference.
Brilliant look. Smith to Briggs, crashing in for 2.
What a great find. And you see, you talk about Florida, they continue to fight in a game where you can see what the score is, but they're continuing to fight.
Olivia Thompson splashes down the triple. Her 10th made free this year. Only her 18th game played, so Thompson, the freshman, getting off the bench. That South Carolina bench was going nuts after she
wanted to shoot it again, but bobbled the pass.
Smith will run. Right to Johnson. Look what I found.
And that's why you follow the play. South Carolina does a poor job of rebounding off of the block. I think they were just taking a picture of the block, but that's why you continue to fight and you finish to the end and you trail the play because it landed right in Johnson's hands for a putback.
South Carolina trying to improve to 12-0 on the road this year.
Getting sloppy offensively.
Yeah. Grab by Johnson, able to settle that one in.
And it seems like Florida in that last couple of possessions went back to what they did in the first quarter, running and pushing the ball in transition.
Well, got partially deflected. Actually, the passes haven't been as crisp for South Carolina.
Has the last couple possessions, I think, turns the ball over 3 or 4 times.
And for Florida, it's about putting some good things on tape here in the final 6 minutes. For the Gators, Paige Robinson's on the floor for the first time since January 12th. Number 44 in pink. It's too tough to deal with on the interior. Again, the depth they have in their front court.
When you go to the bench and then you come in and you have Saxon who's posting up down low, the sophomore, just finishing strong around the basket. She was open, she wanted the ball, kept her hands high, and then finished. Paige
Robinson, KikI Smith taking a seat for the Gators. Paige Robinson, one of 2 seniors for Florida, playing what is her final home game of the regular season. The Gators, they will guarantee at least a 500 record this year after beating Arkansas, so with that, the possibility of playing in the WNIT. Bartram from a long range. Swatted away by Saxton. Big Duke able to put it off the glass. Big Duke with 6 points here tonight.
We talked about how she's been a bright spot off the bench for Florida late in these SEC games. And getting better, I think each game she plays, the more minutes that she plays, she's getting better and better.
Did not start playing basketball, did Faith, until she was 14 years old. So late to the party.
Yeah, late to the party, but and that's why I said I think each and every game that she's been playing, she's just getting better and better because you just can't speak enough about playing game time experience, not just practice time, but game time experience and against this high quality team in South Carolina.
We'll step aside here in the 4th quarter, past the midway mark. We mentioned the seniors. One of those, Paige Robinson, on her senior night. All smiles for number 44. Well, closing in on the madness of March. South Carolina won't have to go very far because they'll play the tournament at Greenville, and then they'll host the region most likely if they're the top overall seed, and they're certainly moving in that direction. You take a look at Fort Wayne, Mississippi State out of the SEC. That's going to be a tough draw for the number 1 seed in that region in Maryland. And then you look at Baylor, of course, the national champion, and they're the beacon of consistency in women's college basketball as well. And then Oregon, Sabrina Ionescu, and we've seen what they've been able to do, and you don't want to play UConn come through.
Exactly, and so that would be an interesting matchup if you had UConn and Oregon in the same bracket, because that'd be a highly watched game for sure.
Those two played in the regular season this year. Oregon won going away at Storrs. South Carolina going away here. 8 times this year they've had at least 90 points. Trying to hit the century mark.
And Florida stretching out their 2-3 zone right now, and South Carolina really taking their time offensively. I think that's the most time I've seen used off the shot clock for South Carolina this entire game.
Alyssa Wesolak with the bucket. Only her 16th game played. Last time she was on the floor against Vanderbilt on February 17th. This game got off to a good start. Gators put up a 21-point first quarter. And since, it's been all South Carolina. Shooting near 60% for the game.
They were going to call a foul or travel. South Carolina thought it was travel. They were running back the other way, but the foul was before the travel. But they're calling it on the ground.
Win tonight would be Dawn Staley's 301st. Columbia as head coach of the Gamecocks. In
A lot of wins.
Program. Or well short.
And you see Cook, the freshman, taking over the point guard position, and with Ty Harris being a senior, you're going to see her at that position next year. And so she's in it, and she can produce. We talked about how good she can be offensively, and you put her at that point guard position, she's going to have to make those assists and the reads. She can do it.
And how important is it to have that role model in Ty
Exactly.
Harris to see, well,
And-
this is how you run things on the floor.
And not just see it from the bench, but she's played alongside it. So she knows it from a playing experience as well.
Nice spin move that time for Briggs. Has scraped her way to double figures with 10. So Lavender has been in double digits 10 of the last 11 games. Came in as the second best freshman in the SEC in terms of points per game. South Carolina trying to hit 100 points for what would be the third time this year. Wild move from Cook.
And if you're Florida, you're trying to not allow them to get there. There's 3 minutes left in the game. Good attack drive and good finish and followed by Lavender Briggs. Well, you talked about it, you finish. Players continue, girls continue to follow the play, because when you have a missed layup, a lot of times you can get that rebound and put back in.
That's the word that Cam Neubauer always uses, the word fight. Says it in just about every press conference. When things aren't going your way, what kind of fight do you put out on
Have to
tape?
continue to fight. You cannot hang your heads, and it's hard sometimes, but you also see the character of your teammates, and of your players, what they're made of in tough situations. When it's easy, it's a little bit different. When it's tougher, you see who's going to fight for you.
South Carolina has 58 points in the paint tonight, almost 60. I think what's interesting, too, is for the Gators, 48 of their 62 have come in the paint as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's more points than South Carolina usually gives up in the paint.
Yeah.
Like we said, they average about 25.5 giving up in the paint. And right now, Florida with 48. So nearly double what they normally give up.
And Dawn Staley saying this is one of the best teams that she's had in her 20-year coaching career. Group that has featured 3 freshmen in the starting lineup all season.
That's saying a lot, too.
And they're not normal freshmen, like we
No,
said
they're
off the
not.
top. They're seasoned players.
But for her to even say that, she's had a lot of great teams. Speaks a lot about this team that she has this year.
Briggs a triple. Briggs had a nice fourth quarter. Now with 15 points. Again, they'll probably have the SEC Freshman of the Year in Aaliyah Boston be the first time since Asia Wilson. Of course, all the Asia Wilson teams that South Carolina had.
Yes, very good.
Cam Neubauer and the Florida Gators almost won in Cam's first year at South Carolina against an Asia Wilson team. Only lost by 7 on the road.
That was really nice. Cook driving crossover. You were talking about the YouTube videos.
She's gone viral.
Kind of one of them.
Yeah. She had a
So quick.
crossover
It's such a quick crossover.
She had a crossover in a high school game where she just stopped the dribble, kind of backpedaled with the dribble and pointed at the defender and just stopped the play just to admire crossing up a defender. Duke now with a career-high 10 points.
10 points. And against South Carolina, a very big South Carolina.
Final minute. Thompson will try another. Second made three from Olivia Thompson. The freshman getting that bench on its feet.
And so right now, if you're Florida, you really got to buckle down defensively.
They've reached the century mark for the third time this year. That's 100 for the Gamecocks.
And not trying to slow them down in this possession. I don't think they will try to score in this one.
Dribble this one out. Number one came in town, and number one took care of business. South Carolina rolling to their 22nd straight win. That ties a program record. The Gamecocks now 28-1 on the year, 15-0 in the SEC, and the regular season champs of the Southeastern Conference roll past the Gators. A final score, South Carolina 100 and Florida 67. Again, 22 straight victories. That ties a program record for South Carolina. Outstanding performance tonight.
Outstanding performance, and we saw one of the reasons, many of the reasons why they're the #1 team in the nation. They don't lose anything when they go to their bench. Their starters are phenomenal. They were led by their seniors. They had 18 and Herbert-Harrigan. Harris had 16. You can't say enough about how good they are.
So that wraps it up here from Gainesville. The Gators will take on the Bulldogs on Sunday. For Brittany Davis, our entire crew, I'm Kyle Brooks saying so long and good night here from Gainesville.